Eleanor felt the chill of the wind long before the door opened. It was a strange draught, cold and sweet at once, smelling of rain on old leaves and something floral and heavy, like lilies in a graveyard. The candles on the mantle sputtered and then vanished, not snuffed out, but gone entirely, their light swallowed by the sudden gloom. The curtains across the bay window flew inward, not rustling, but snapping like a sail in a gale, and just as quickly fell still. In the darkness, he appeared. It wasn't a shadow, not a ghost. It was a man, indistinct, but not hazy, and his eyes were a pair of deep, knowing pools that held all the grief and all the joy of 1,000 lifetimes. He offered his hand. There was no fear in Eleanor's heart, only the deep, aching certainty of recognition. Their time had come. "Come on, baby," he said, his voice the rustle of dry leaves and the soft rumble of distant thunder. "Don't fear the reaper." She didn't. Eleanor had been with James since high school, a love story as old and worn as the earth itself. They had built a home, raised children, and watched seasons turn together. Their love wasn't just a passion, it was a constant, like the sun and the rain. When James left, not with a sickness, but simply gone in the quiet way of an old tree finally falling, she had felt not a rending, but a thinning. She was a canvas with half the paint missing. In the years that followed, Eleanor lived, but did not live fully. She was a ghost in her own house, moving through the rooms with a sorrow that ached in her bones. Their love, like the star-crossed lovers of Verona, was not meant for a single lifetime. It was a promise of an eternity. And now he was here to collect on that promise. "I'm your man," he whispered, his voice resonating in the silence. Eleanor took his hand. It wasn't cold or ghostly, but a strong, reassuring grip she had known all her life. The world around them began to dissolve, not into darkness, but into a kaleidoscope of light and memory. She saw herself, a young woman in a sundress, laughing as James kissed her by the river. She saw their first Christmas tree, the years blurring together in a montage of anniversaries and birthdays. She saw the last night of sadness, a tear on her cheek as she finally gave up the fight against loneliness. And as the last walls of her world faded away, they began to fly. They looked back one final time at the house, a small, quiet island in a vast, glittering expanse. It was a goodbye to the world of rain and sun, to the cycles of the seasons, and to the fear of what comes next. As they soared, she realized with a gasp that she had become like the wind in the seasons. She had no fear, for they would spend eternity together, a love story written not in ink, but in the rustle of the wind and the beat of a distant drum. Theirs was a love beyond the grave, a promise fulfilled. And for an eternity, they would not fear the reaper, for he was already holding her hand. This is Shandon at Storylink Radio. Eleanor and James' love began the way many great stories do, simply and unexpectedly. Their meeting was a quiet, unassuming moment in a high school hallway, far from the dramatic first encounters of novels. It was a recognition, a subtle and powerful sense that they had always belonged together. If you would like to hear more of the eternal and profound love between Eleanor and James, please comment below. This winter, we are planning a fuller, richer story to be released here on Storylink Radio. You may wish to consider subscribing so you don't miss it. Thanks for listening.